and welcome to W Rated, the show where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. You've joined us on our road to Razzies 2026, where we'll be watching all of the nominated films for this year's ceremony. Today, we're talking about a film which has 5 nominations, and I'll be handing over to my co-host and editor of the podcast to tell us what those are. For any new listeners, though, I'm Daisy, and I'm joined by...
Claire, hello.
Hello, Claire. The film we're talking about today is called Hurry Up Tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about what the film is and what it's nominated for?
Yes, so this is a kind of pseudo-autobiographical movie about the singer The Weeknd, who is a co-writer and the star of this film. It's picked up 5 nominations at this year's Razzies. So we've got it in Worst Picture, we've got it in Worst Director for Trey Edward Schultz, we've got it for Worst Actor for Abel The Weeknd Tesfaye, we've got it in Worst Screen Combo for The Weeknd and His Colossal Ego, and we've also got it in Worst Screenplay, which goes to the director Trey Edward Schultz, Abel Tesfaye The Weeknd, and a third person, Reza Fahim. So The Weeknd was all over this. It was inspired... one of my notes when I was watching it, there's a section in the film where he, in the middle of his show, can't sing. And I was like, has this ever actually happened to anyone in real life? Or is this just, like, a worst nightmare? And then I found out it did actually happen to him, and that's why he wrote this film. So I was like, okay, I guess turn your trauma into art. I like that.
Yeah.
Didn't like much else.
No, I appreciated the intent. I didn't vibe with it, quite simply.
As I was trying, I really tried to go in with an open mind, because I realised Trey Edward Schultz is the writer-director of the film Waves, which came out in 2019, which I saw at the London Film Festival, absolutely loved. It was quite a bit of a Marmite film. People that loved it, and the people that didn't. And it kind of picked up quite a lot of noms in some places, and then was kind of...
So it's quite divisive, then. Divisive,
definitely. And it's all about, like, young black people, and Trey Edward Schultz is a white man, so I think there was a lot of people being like, should you be telling this story? But I really liked Waves, and this is his follow-up. So I was like, oh, sweet, maybe, you know what, Waves was divisive, so maybe I might like this.
You're on the wrong side of the fence.
And just as it went on, I liked it less and less. And my very short Letterboxd review was, there was a great short film in here somewhere. This would have been
like a visual
such a good
art.
15-minute
album.
Yeah, 15-minute, 20 minutes, or like say a full visual album. It could have been longer, actually set to the music. Because there is an accompanying album that The Weeknd wrote while making the film, and they were released at the same time. But yeah, like you said, the intent was good. Some of the people in front and behind the camera are good, not all of them. And some of the shots were beautiful. But they sort of forgot to make a film. Yeah, visually it was great, but there wasn't. It's just classic, like, Style Over Substance example, isn't it? It was trying so hard to be arty and intriguing, edgy, curious, like, have thoughts. What do you think? And I was like, not that I want to be spoon-fed, but, you know, you've got to give us something here, guys.
Yeah, there has, you know, when you want, the intent for them was to have subtext, but you still need, I think they forgot, you still need to write the subtext. You just don't write it as part of the script.
You need text to have subtext.
You need text to have subtext.
Can't read between the lines if there's no lines.
If there aren't any lines, that's a very, very fair reading. And I appreciate exactly the same feelings there. And I think, you know, you said you went in with an open mind, and that's always what we try and do with the podcast. I was about to say but the whole point is we're always watching bad films, but especially I think with the Razzies, because I do think we sometimes get worse ones with the Razzies.
I was just going to ask, that's a question we've never really actually discussed. Do you think the Razzie films are worse than the bottom 100 films?
I think the bottom 100 films have, like, an aura, if that makes sense. They've got something mystical about them. They're there for a reason. There's a story behind them. Whereas the Razzies is a moment in time, and what it tends to capture well is big disappointments. And I think we've spoken so much about, like, how your expectations impact, particularly mine, I've spoken about, impact how much I can enjoy a film. So a lot of the films we're watching with the Razzies, I think, are people that, and the same for the bottom 100, sure, but they've had time to like percolate a little bit and garner a bit of cult followings and stuff. Whereas these ones were just people. I can imagine being Razzie members being like, God, I hated this. This was really disappointing. But they've gone to see the film, obviously. I can't imagine they have the same setup as the Academy where they get for your consideration lists to work through. So they've obviously are paying members of the public.
No, I wonder if they do get not the list of like for your consideration and sent the films, because the Academy members get sent like watching links, but
they don't watch them. But yeah,
no, they have to now. Not that good. I don't know how they're.
Who was the one? Was it Kirsten Dunst? Who's like, well, I watched them all. And it's like,
I'm an Academy member. Of course I watched them.
I love films. Like, what's everyone else doing?
And Ariana Grande took it really seriously this year.
Good.
It was her first year, and she was like, I'm going to watch all of them. I'm so excited.
She's precious. Good
but I do wonder if nearer the time of putting in your nominations, I wonder if they do send around a list of like, these are films you might want to think about. And I wonder if that's how then it gets.
It makes sense.
I'm definitely going to reach out. We say it every year, but I'm definitely going to reach out to some of the people in the Razzies this year. I'm dedicated and be like, talk us through the inner workings. We want to see behind the curtain.
Yeah. Because there's so many that are nominated where we're like, where's that come from? Like, was that a big cultural touch point? Like, we've got ones coming up where it's clearly a fandom, a community, you know, and all of this. This one, I did see trailers in the cinema for. I don't know if you did.
I found out about this film when the entire internet started taking the absolute piss out of it. And was actually really confused because I was like, didn't that TV show come out last year?
Oh, you thought it was The Idol.
The premise of this and the premise of The Idol and the tone and everything are so similar. And side note, found out that the creator of The Idol, Sam Levinson, fell out with them all because he wanted to be involved in this film.
It's just so funny, isn't it? How it all because his partner was involved in this and he unfortunately like died recently, like in the last year. It was dedicated to him and everything.
Producing partner,
is very, so if you've seen The Idol, if you've seen Sam Levinson's other stuff, the DNA is kind of there, but a little bit less on the shock for the.
That's what I found myself on a Reddit thread trying to find out a bit more about why Sam Levinson was so angry, and it was loads of people being like, I'm so glad he wasn't involved. Jenna Ortega's boobs would have been out every 5 minutes.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly. So it was a little bit more contained in that aspect, but you can still see how he would be annoyed that he's not been involved in it, to vulgar it up a little bit.
It's like, all your mates have gone off on a jolly and they've left you out. That hurts.
Maybe have a think about why that might be. So it's one of those ones that I was intrigued by because I recognised the name. I'd recognised, like, as in like the director's name, sorry. And I knew of Waves, but I didn't really know, so it was one of those ones I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be very visual. This is going to be very like edgy music, all of this. So I actually was really intrigued. And then I saw the clip of The Weeknd going, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
So the only clip I'd seen of this before I actually watched it, only last night, was the bit where he's tied on the bed and Jenna Ortega is explaining to him why Blinding Lights is like the best song ever made. And I remember being like, is this what that film is about? Because it was like ages, I think it must have been like, I don't know when, but it was a while after the film came out. And I was like, oh, is that what that film is?
It's Misery for Gen Z.
And I only watched Misery for the first time at Halloween. So, it had a lot to live up to because Misery is very fresh in my brain.
Yeah. So it's one of those ones I was definitely intrigued by. I feel like it was one of the films that I've had more chance of enjoying because we've spoken before. There's always a lot of like sort of straight to streaming / renting action films that we have to do on this that aren't my favourite. So I was hoping that maybe this was just a bit of a shoot for the stars, didn't quite land, pissed some people off, but maybe I could get some enjoyment out of it. And it's not to say I didn't. I was intrigued about where it was going, but I felt it was so vapid. There was nothing there of any kind of meaning, and I just felt it was trying to do the whole look at us doing bumps, aren't we cool, ha ha ha, like that kind of thing. It was just a bit like, this is just too immature for me.
Well, I paused it at one point, just I think the cat wanted something, and I was like, oh my god, I think I was like 56 minutes into the film, and I was like, nothing has happened, because she, spoilers, it's Misery, she kidnaps the weekend, give or take, but by that point it's an hour and 40 minutes long, and by 56 minutes she still hadn't shown her card. And in certain films that would be tension, but there was no tension in this.
No, it was weird because you had Jenna Ortega's character very, very lightly dotted throughout up until that point. It wasn't clear what she was doing. She'd set a house on fire at the beginning. It was intriguing, but then the only other thing you see is her driving and filling up the gas can, and then she's obviously like doesn't want to get caught by the police and whatever. And then I think the next thing you see is her going to the concert. Then at the concert, it's not clear what she's intending to do.
I kept thinking, I was like, if I had just burnt down a house and was on the run, I don't know if the place that I would go would be a massive concert in a stadium. But again, then I'm like, if I was planning to kidnap him, then yeah, I probably would.
But this is the question mark, is like, I would then go, okay, so she's not thinking normally. Mm-hmm. Is she a bit off kilter? Is she not, what's up with her? This is an interesting character. But the way that they end up meeting is like a kismet thing.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's a meet cute.
It's a meet cute with him on stage.
I think that's meant to throw us off the scent, but the scent wasn't strong enough to begin with.
Throw us off the scent of what, though?
Like, it's really cute and she's going to save him and they're going to have this lovely relationship. But it's like, you've not set it up for them to have anything else anyway.
Well, I totally agree with you there. My thing that I'm like stuck on is if she was intending to kidnap him the whole time, that wasn't it relied on a lot of coincidences.
I don't think she was intending to kidnap him, but I do think she is clearly mentally not stable, and she was going to take any chance she could get to get near him.
And I think we should have maybe seen that a little bit more, because it was a bit like, okay, so clearly she is. Clearly, I think...
Did you ever watch that show that Donald Glover made?
What, Atlanta?
No. It was this one for Amazon, and it did a version of this so much better. Sorry, continue what I
Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
No, there's a different one. I'm going to look it up.
As a Donald Glover fan, this has stumped me.
TV show. I'm sure it was Donald... Yeah, Swarm.
Oh, right. It's like the Beyonce Beehive thing.
So it's a young girl who's absolutely obsessed with a Beyonce-esque. It's not Beyonce, but it's give or take. It's a stand-in for Beyonce. And there's a couple of the episodes where she does get really close to her. And this really reminded me of it. And I was like, God... The episode of Swarm that's like this, they did so much better. And it's like, it's her at the concert, but you see her being off kilter at the concert, and she's only got a ticket, but you see that thing of her calculating, if I got there, I can get there. If I can get here, I can get here. Yeah. And I was like, that did it so much better.
And like, say for example, you don't see that, but she does end up locking eyes with him after he's lost his voice, and he feels something, they feel something, and then, events transpire of like, they go spend time together, it's nice, whatever. And then you find out that she's like orchestrated it somehow. Mm-hmm. Cool. Show it at some point, or at least give the impression that has happened, because I don't believe that this person, like, I don't understand what their intentions were going into the concert. If they intended to do that, they were just damn bloody lucky, to be honest, because how on earth could you, like, not only was it the connecting of the eyes was one thing, but it just so happened that he ran off stage, she ran off stage somewhere else with that seeming to really know where she was going, and they happened to run into each other at a point where he'd already locked himself in his like there was no way she could have orchestrated that.
And so also, just realistically, as someone who goes to very large concerts, she got there very late and she went to the bathroom. No way she's getting fucking barricade. Yeah. You have to be in the queue at 7 a.m. to get barricade. If there'd been a scene of her pushing people out of the way, then maybe I'd believe it, because she's funky and she could have made her way to the front. We didn't see it. Wasn't realistic.
Yeah, there's just, some of this stuff, it just takes you out of it, because you're just... It's fine if they've set up a world where you don't... I think you just need, when you have a film, you have a universe that has certain rules, and if the rules are you don't see certain stuff, then you're bought into that set of rules. But it's like they didn't really establish that, and it was all a bit like, am I supposed to believe that that was on purpose or just luck? Because I believed it was luck.
Thinking of what you believe, though, fast forward to the end, was it all a dream?
Well, this is the other thing, is that I did see on Reddit an interesting theory that makes me like it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bit like, and I had this because I watched the film Enemy with Stephen a couple of weeks ago. We've never seen it before. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching it years ago because someone recommended it to me, and I didn't really know what I was getting into, and spoilers, it was a guy I really fancied, and I only watched it to try and impress him. And it was a little
I think Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh no, but I also fancy Jake Gyllenhaal many times. But yeah, it was a little bit highbrow for me. I didn't quite know what I was getting into. Yeah. I think if I rewatched it now, I'd understand it a bit more, whereas I didn't really know what I was getting, and I was like, what is happening in this?
But it is purposely vague, and Denis Villeneuve has also said we wanted it. He said it's pretentious on purpose and fair play. Yeah. And there's something to be said about
me fancying a pretentious man who recommends pretentious movies. Who would have known?
So, we're watching it, and at the end we didn't understand it. So we've gone, well, that was shit because I didn't understand it. But then I've gone away and read all the symbolism and everything. And now I think on a rewatch, I would really enjoy that. But does that make it a good film? ? With this, I read a theory about what it's supposed to mean. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, if I'd have got that, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Now, if I were to rewatch it, I probably would enjoy it a bit more. But how much is the responsibility of making that accessible for audiences on the first time watch? It kind of, I guess everyone's different.
I think, though, there's also, that's actually a really good comparison of the two films, because I struggled a little bit with Enemy. I watched it literally, over 10 years ago, and I've not gone back to it. But it intrigued me, and I have followed Denis Villeneuve since then, because the bits that were good enough to make me sit up and go, this is an interesting director, this is an interesting story. Not entirely sure I get it all, and maybe I need to go do some research. Hurry Up Tomorrow, there was no intrigue. It felt like they were trying to make it intriguing, but like we've mentioned, there's no text, there's no subtext about text and stuff. Nothing in this impressed me enough to want to revisit anything with any of these people in, which upsets me because Jenna Ortega is a brilliant actress, but after watching this, I'd be like, I don't want to watch it. If this was my first experience with her as an actress, I bet she's a terrible actress.
Really? Oh, so you didn't even think that she was...
I thought she was bad in this, and I thought she was miscast, and I thought that she didn't have enough to work with. And I found myself thinking, not that she was too pretty, but that the camera was making her too pretty. She looked beautiful in all of the crazy, I'm gonna murder you and I'm doing a crazy dance, but she just looked like a beautiful young woman because the camera framed her. She's in a little tank top, the boobs are flying everywhere, but it was still sexually framed, and it was still we're gonna make Jenna Ortega still look good. I'm like, no, she's meant to be an absolute crazed lunatic who's pouring gasoline on you. She tied you to a bed. And we've seen many, many beautiful actresses play crazy, and they can do it really well. I don't think that she can't, but I don't think that the people behind the camera were pushing her enough. I don't think that the makeup and hair were doing enough. I don't think that the dialogue gave her enough.
But I think it's because they didn't want to, right? They didn't, that's not what they were going for.
Yeah, but it didn't work. When you compare it to Misery, obviously a very different character, but she's
that's why it felt like a music video rather than a film. And that's fine, but this is a film. So yeah. Well, I mean, I think she was one of the best things in it, which is probably not disagreeing with your point.
She also did say originally that she didn't want to do the film because she didn't think she was right for it, and I'm like, go, trust your gut. Whereas she met with them and they convinced her no, and she said that she really wanted to work with the people behind, the producers and the writer, the director, so that's why she ended up signing up for it. But she said originally she said no because she didn't think she was correct, and I'm like, you weren't
Trev obviously said something to her in the meeting that's convinced her, and I don't think it was to do with the art itself, probably.
She was a producer or executive producer on it, which is great. At that age,
maybe that's something that was
enticing to her. Yeah,
for sure. I don't think it will be too damaging for her, luckily.
I mean, all of her film choices are damaging to her, bless her.
Well, that's true, because it's not...
And the problem, because she does really good interviews. I don't know if you've seen any of this, if you're like, I don't think you're as online as I am now. But she's always, whenever she's doing press for movies, she's always talking about, like, all these amazing, like, directors and writers and these amazing historical films she watches, and people are like, how can you, like, you basically have set yourself your own film history assignments, and then you're taking some of the worst films ever.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about, whether it is just because it's a job.
I think it's because she wants to work with the people. Like, maybe, like me, she really liked Waves. If I was an actress and I'd seen Waves, I'd be like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to be in your next film. Like, it could be as simple as that. She liked his last film, and she said yes.
Or, like, things like with Wednesday, she...
just wants to do something different.
Wants to do something different, but also that would be hopefully a good payday, a good, like, you know, a franchise, not kind of a bit of a franchise for her to, like, be involved in, so that she can eventually be sustained enough to be able to do more creative stuff. Yeah, that doesn't...
Art house.
Yeah, exactly. But that remains to be seen. But she's not one of the ones that is...
No,
she's
only,
not got
actually, acting-wise, only The Weeknd is nominated. He picked up 2 nominations. He got the actor nomination and the screen combo nomination. To be completely honest, if it was me, the screen combo award for this film would have been Barry Keoghan and Coke. I was so fed up. I was just like, we get it, Barry Keoghan. You're a scumbag. Another one. The first time I saw Barry Keoghan was in a really amazing indie Irish movie. It was not called Slow Horses, but it was something like that. Okay. It has 2 names. It has an English name and an American name. I will look it up in a second. He blew me... Calm Horses? Calm Horses.
Yes, I've heard of that, yeah.
He blew me away in that. I thought he was so brilliant. And then I've seen him in things since then, and I've been like, yeah, go you. We love an Irish person, and he comes from, you know, really working class families. We love a working class actor rising up. We like an Irish actor rising up. We like diversity in those realms. But wow, in the last few years, he is just giving us nothing. It's just, I'm an Irish scumbag. I'm an Irish scumbag. Oh, I'm a scumbag with a different accent, but you know I'm an Irish scumbag, and it's like...
kind of doing the Colin Farrell take 2.
Which is funny, because I do feel like it all started to go wrong after Banshees, where he worked with Colin Farrell. Did Colin give him some bad advice?
Oh, no.
But then also, did he think he was getting... He got nommed for Banshees, I think.
Barry Keoghan?
Yeah. Many people said... I'm almost definite he did. Maybe he didn't. But lots of people said he was one of the best parts. I hated everything about that film, so that's a whole other... that film deeply, like... unlocked.
Upset you?
Yeah, it made me severely depressed.
I think we've spoken about it before, yeah. I don't think that film is a good film for anyone to watch. I think it's a horrible, nasty movie. Right. just no. It has its own Wikipedia article. He did get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Wow.
But then maybe he was pissed off he didn't win and went, I'll go do these. I don't know. But
we never really... It's always interesting to think about why people make these sort of career decisions, isn't it? Because we won't know, but...
him just every 5 seconds being like, let's do some more, I got you, man, you're my bro, let's do more drugs.
It was cringe. It was so cringe.
Yeah. So that would have been my worst combo, but the Razzies gave it to The Weeknd and his massive, colossal ego. I don't know about you, I didn't think he really had a massive ego in this. I just think that he's not that good an actor, based off of this. I haven't seen The Idol. I thought Bigger As She was the script. He can't write, like, he co-wrote this, and I thought they were all it was just a terrible script that gave him nothing to do.
Yeah.
Sounds like even if he had better script, you said from The Idol, he's not a good actor. They even reference that in this. They make a fucking dick when he's on the private jet with Barry Keoghan. Yeah. He's reading stuff and he goes, oh, mate, don't worry, you tried the acting thing, they all said it was shit, never mind.
Yeah, I remember picking up on that. Yeah. A lot of the reviews were like, he needs to just give up trying to act. But I think it's like, fair enough if he wants to try and act. I think the problem is that he's been probably not given the support and the guidance, because he's obviously not, I don't know, but my assumption is he's not trained in acting. So I guess it gives a vibe of someone who wants to give it a go, and that's fine. But you can't really be annoyed if you're not very good, if you've not really put the the work in. Like, some people are just very talented, that's fine.
Some people are multifaceted. You get people
Yeah.
like Sabrina Carpenter, who is a triple threat, because mostly because I think she probably did some theatre training. She can do the singing, the dance. Yeah, but she can do the singing, the dancing, the acting, all of it. Taylor Swift, she's been trying to be an actor since she came up, because she came up with, like, her... Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift released their first albums on the same day.
Really?
So they have been at the same time, and Taylor Swift did a song in the Hannah Montana movie and wrote 2 songs for the Hannah Montana movie. So, like, they've been... But so Taylor Swift has been trying to do the double thing, and she's terrible. She's a terrible, terrible actress. Sometimes you just can't do both.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Some people can do it all, like the Sabrinas, like the Mileys. Some people can't. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think, you know, especially, maybe not the Idol, but with this, I don't know how... I think he was a producer on that as well, though, The Weeknd.
I think so.
I think in both these instances, he has a lot of sway behind the camera. So I think there's this element of kind of lack of, like, uncheckedness, if that makes sense. It's like, your mates, you're all kind of there, it's your own project, so you get kind of the call on it. Although he's directed by someone else, did he co-write the script? Yeah. So it's all a bit, the boundaries aren't clear to push him. He's not being pushed.
And that was not about him, actually, but about Trey Edward Schultz, who's the director and co-writer. He also edited the film, and that was one of the notes I made. He shouldn't have wrote, directed and edited. Someone needed to tell him that this wasn't working in the edit. Like, it was basically the 3 of them. So you had the 3 writers who also all produced, and then one of them directed and edited. The other 2, like, it was all just a mob of people doing everything together and no outside voice, which can work. A tight-knit group can work. But I think in this, like, for his acting, for the actual film, for the script, for the editing, you needed another voice.
It's an echo chamber, really, isn't it, in that instance? And sometimes you're right. Sometimes, you know, amazing things can be created with a small group of very talented people. But I also think that probably relies on them having a little bit of that added awareness, or, you know, taking some outside thoughts coming in. That's not to say these people didn't, but I do get the vibe that it was a bit of an echo chamber of them all just kind of gassing each other up and being like, this is great, blah, blah, blah. Because it doesn't feel like something where someone has gone through in the edit. It feels self-indulgent. It feels like a group project where they really believe in it, and that's lovely.
The repetition of so many, like, beautiful shots. Yeah, I get it. Like, that shot's amazing. I love that. Like, the house burning. But did I need to see the house burning every 20 minutes? I get it. She burnt a house down. You don't need to keep repeating it to me. No matter how much the shot cost or how good it looked, you're not adding anything to the movie.
But I think the problem is that, you know, when we go back to the text subtext thing, is people, I feel like I'm really, like, shitting on this guy who's directed films and had them released, and that's like, he'd do more than I can and have done. But, you know, when sometimes you're looking at something going, oh, they've done that because they've seen it before, not because they know what it means to use a technique like that. I think the burning house was, you know, we've seen it in plenty of films before, a visual that you repeatedly see because it means something to the wider story and they want to bring it back. It's like, okay, but we still don't know whose house that was and why she burnt it down. So it's not adding anything. To me, it felt like a music video. Oh, cool, it's a visual that's meant to evoke something that goes with the music. It didn't feel like a film visual.
Yeah.
That is what the film visual is designed to do, is to help you feel the story. So, yeah.
I think I interrupted you though, sorry. That's back, like 10 minutes ago. You were saying that on the Reddit, on the Reddit, you read something, because then we got onto Enemy. But you read something that made you appreciate it more. What was that?
Okay, yeah. So the theory is that it is a representation of Abel or The Weeknd, and that Barry's character, Lee, I think, he's actually the ego.
Oh.
And Jenna Ortega's character is the id. Is it the id?
That makes
so it's like the vulnerable.
That makes so much sense. And like even the poster does that. In the poster, he's in the middle, they're both on the either side of him. if they'd have been able to put more of that into the movie and done it in a smarter, even a more intelligent way. Like, it sounds stupid that I didn't see that, and I'm like, oh, I'm so stupid. But
No, because they haven't served it to you in the right way.
I think, that could have been, which maybe it was the intention, and maybe people be like, oh, you just didn't understand it. But it's like, that could have been done so beautifully. That would, that's made me, but it's back to that, this could have been a brilliant short film. The right editor, the right people in the room, touching, tweaking, amending. You could have really
to just bring that because you need, because I think, you know, this exercise of, you know, when going back to the enemy conversation is, when I watched it, I didn't get it, so I didn't enjoy it. It was a lower rating. I've then read what it means. Oh wow, okay. Next time I watch that rating will be higher. But that's because I'm rating based on what I've watched at the time. Same with this. If I were to watch that again with that in mind, I probably would bump it a little bit higher. Not massively, but a little bit. But should you have to read someone else's theory or interviews? But then it's all art, it's subjective, it's how you appreciate it. But at the end of the day, if most people aren't getting it, then it's not worked.
Yeah,
if a few people aren't getting it, because at the end of the day, if that's what you've represented, that's the story. And whilst it might go over some people's heads, ultimately, what do you want your audience? If we were to ask the director, what does this mean? What, you know, off the record, no one has to hear this, but what do you want this to mean? The audience is to take away. What do you want them to understand? Talking about Jenna, well, she's the id, she's the vulnerability, she's him going back to his most vulnerable. Okay, cool. Here's how that is then represented. The role I was just doing there was a bit of like an outside voice to like help them bring it to life, because without someone else perhaps there supporting them or someone else doing it, that would have been not even like super clear. We don't want it on the nose, that's the thing, but just enough to not have to need someone randomly on a Reddit thread to be like, that's how I interpreted it. Oh wait, okay, now I appreciate it more. If that was the intention, which I do feel it was, because it's what actually makes it then a piece of text rather than just a long music video. Oh, okay, now I probably understand what they were trying to do. But if they I can appreciate that. But if that wasn't clear to me enough to feel it in the original viewing, then they haven't delivered on what they intended to do.
Yeah, I think you really made me actually think of like Yellow Jackets, which I don't think you watched, but I love.
Haven't yet, no.
But that's one of the things that great. So Yellow Jackets is like it's kind of a cross between Lost and Lord of the Flies. A bunch of schoolgirls crash land in the Canadian wilderness, and they're there for 18 months. And have to survive, and they turn into like a new age spiritual cannibal cult. I mean, it takes a long time, lots of other stuff happens, but one of the best things I love about it is that there's the wilderness, very much like Lost, of, you know, the island and the smoke. So there is the wilderness, and these girls do really horrible, awful things to each other, but they're like, the wilderness wants us to do this. The wilderness demands that we sacrifice one of each other to provide to the wilderness. The best thing about it, like listening to podcasts about it, is you can watch it one of two ways, and it makes sense brilliant ways. You can watch it and think, these girls are alone, they're 16, they've gone clinically insane, they're suffering through starvation, deprivation, they have made the wilderness up to give themselves permission to do what they have to do. Which is
very
survive.
Lord of the Flies, isn't it?
But then you can do the other thing, because there are lots of supernatural elements to it, of, no, the wilderness is real, and they have all been possessed, and the girls that make it home, they were never normal again because the wilderness followed them home. But the way that there are a lot of question marks and things that don't go anywhere, and the first season was brilliant and it's not been great since, but I still love that you can watch it with both theories in mind and enjoy it no matter what side of the coin you're on. Whereas this, I don't think you can enjoy it because you don't have enough information to believe in the spiritualness of the ego and the id.
Well, it's like the literal
and then
text
the literal
and then the
stuff is the literal stuff is boring and not well done, and then there's not enough information there's not enough stuff to give us the supernatural or theoretical stuff.
I really like that as like an exercise to be like, okay, because that is a lot of, you know, stuff that isn't straightforward, you know, film as art and how it's created is, well, we've just said the text and the subtext is that you can take the text literally and either enjoy it or not, fine, but then there are other readings and different there's layers to it. This film hasn't built the layers sturdily or well, so whilst everything does have those, it's harder for the audience to take it away, because you could have, in this example like you've said, someone that's taking it away and going, oh no, I just, I read it as her being real and all of this, and that was really entertaining for XYZ. And then the other reading is, well, actually, I don't think she's real, but you're right, neither of them work. So you can't take either reading away, or neither of them work in a way that the audience
neither of them are strong enough.
They're not strong enough. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, well, look at us talking about ego and id.
I know.
Well done you, Daisy, for finding that.
Psychology and film together.
I know. The dream. I think the only thing in my notes that I'm looking at that I wrote 2 pages of notes for this.
Wow.
Most of them are just the same though, of like, but I think
I did laugh at one, but I need to start writing notes again, because I did absolutely laugh at the ridiculousness of some of it at some points.
I think the only thing that we haven't covered, which is just a really mean dig, is that none of those songs were worthy of anyone crying over. When she starts having the sad tear when he plays her his demo, and she's just like, it's so moving. And no.
I think that's the ego point with the screen combo thing, is that this is semi-autobiographical. It features him. He produced it. He wrote it, and it is essentially a film about how he is suffering at the hands of fame and performing in vapidness, and he can't connect his vulnerability and be honest. And everything I've just said in the last 10 seconds is literally the only thing that happened. That's all. That's all. That's it all, right? That's everything.
That's the movie.
That's the film. So I think, and then you've got the notion of the Jenna's character playing back his songs and explaining to him why they're deep and meaningful. And a few people were talking in the reviews about how that's what's cringy, because he's written that.
Yeah.
As a bit of a, oh, look how deep my songs are. But then other people have offered, and potentially they're artists or they know artists, and they understand how actually that's really uncomfortable for people who do create art. They are
probably taken from things that he's been told. And he might not have written them about himself. He might have rewrote things that he's read about himself that people have awkwardly told him that have made him uncomfortable.
Yeah, but also just even if you're an artist and you've written a song and you really believe in it, it's vulnerable, you don't, or it's old and you've moved on, people don't tend to actually like hearing them back and talking about that. It's quite personal.
Yeah.
So a lot of people said, well, actually, if you were tied up by someone who you thought was going to kill you, she was talking about how deep and personal your songs were, you probably would feel very uncomfortable as well. So it's almost like it is an exercise. It's like an exercising exercise, like demon, the exorcising thing for him to kind of be like, oh, hey, this is uncomfortable for, I do believe there was something in there that The Weeknd wanted to say that was really interesting, but it just didn't really come out that way. No. And people have perceived it as just a massive ego stroke, navel gazing. Oh, look how deep all my songs are. And it's just a bit like, without the kind of richness of the film, like kind of telling you something, it does just seem like, oh yeah, he's tied himself to a bed and got this gorgeous woman to jump around and sing his songs. It kind of looks like
he's being crucified because, it's so hard.
Yeah, exactly. And just spends a lot of time just on his face singing,
oh my god! So when he sung to her so that she'd release him, I did want to die.
Oh, when it was just the
I did want to crawl into my own skin and just die.
So I interpreted that as he finally was just like,
oh, he found his voice again. He found his voice. Shit.
He found his voice because he. I didn't even remember they'd lost it. Because he was about to die. So he was finally vulnerable enough to sing the demo.
And he got over his own shit though as well, because it's all psychological.
So I think it's I do think there is an almost opposite of egotism here, where he's trying to say this is really difficult, but like I understand it's silly, like seems silly, and like I just want to show you what I've kind of been going through. But people, it didn't connect with people. People didn't see why that was. He didn't do it in a human way. He did it in a glossy pop star way. So people are going to be like, yeah, great. Like, you're a multi-millionaire or whatever.
To be honest, like, it's cool that he wanted to play himself, and I do like his music. Like, when it started and he came out, I was like, I do like a good weekend bop.
It's a bop.
Like, it's not someone I listen to, but when it comes on the radio, I often leave it on. He does a good bop. But actually, yeah, I feel like if he'd have co-wrote the first draft of this, and then they'd given it away, they'd given it to another writer,
to someone who's done this before,
to final draft, they'd given it to a different or not even a stronger director, just a different director who's maybe not their mate. Like,
are they friends then? Is that?
I don't know. It was unclear. But they all seemed quite chummy. But like, he shouldn't have been allowed to follow it along, which sounds terrible because if it's your story, you do want to follow it along. But like, I feel like he needed to be removed. It should have been a different actor, a director that wasn't like, he shouldn't have been co-writing it. He shouldn't have been producing it. And then I think we would have had a really amazing film. And he could have said like, I came up with the idea. It's loosely based on me. This is, you know, but it stayed too close to him, and you can't.
It didn't have room to breathe. It didn't have room for people's to sharpen it and bring it to life more, and it just stayed within his own abilities, which are limited because that's not his main talent, and that's okay.
He's great at distilling something into 3 minutes. Not an hour and 40.
It's true. So yeah, it's a shame because it's almost like if you love it, let it go. If you really want this to work, let people who know what they're doing get involved. And sometimes there are instances where these people, like you say, are multifaceted. They can make this small collective and come up with amazing stuff, and they're so known for being that kind of multi-talented people. But I think sometimes you kind of have to have a level of awareness that actually, if you really want this to do well, but then is he being told?
Yeah,
within the group, this is
by
brilliant.
Barry Keoghan and told to do more coke and told he's doing amazing.
Oh man, I was just so over it because I just watched The Idol as well. Like, I think I'd finished it the end of last year because I'd started watching it out of curiosity, morbid curiosity, and then I was like, oh, I need to finish that actually. And then,
I really wanted to watch the original version,
what it was supposed to be.
And so then when I heard all the stuff, I was like, it would have been a pain for me to get access to it anyway. I would have to go to my mum's house or download it or something. But then I was like, I don't think I'm interested in what it became. My actual last point was, whilst it was very annoying to watch Barry Keoghan constantly shove coke down his face, I did think, why has no one ever tried to hype me up like that? No one. I have had some really dark moments. No one has ever come to me and been like, girl, you got this, you're the best, have some coke, we've got to take over the world. The fuck?
Okay, noted.
Like, I don't know, maybe it would have helped, guys. I know therapy and antidepressants helped in the end, but did anyone want to try hype up coke talk? Clearly not.
Well, listen, like, look how it ended up for him. He ended up going on stage and losing his voice. I don't think we're supposed to want the Barry Keoghan character around.
I just want someone to love me enough to force coke down my face. I don't actually. That does
and end. And scene. That's what we've got out of this film. So we've pretty much covered all of the noms, haven't we? You've got, you know, these are the big hitters. We've got worst picture, director, screenplay, and lead actor, as well as having a double hit for the lead actor. So people really didn't like this as a product.
I feel bad for saying it, but I do think, he is a bad actor. It was bad acting. I do not disagree with the worst actor nom at all.
No.
The worst screen combo, we mentioned it in our intro episode, just feels lazy. Just feels like a duplicate nomination. So I'm happy for that one to be discredited. And then the top 3, worst film, worst direction, and worst screenplay. Definitely yes for screenplay and worst film. Worst direction, I'm half and half on because I don't think the script was strong enough, but some of the shots are stunning, some of the things were very beautiful, but then he also wrote and edited it, so he is guilty because the edit is bad and the script is bad, and therefore you can't be forgiven for the direction because you were all 3 people. So I feel like this is one of the ones that kind of does deserve to be here.
It's hard with worst picture because it's like, I can appreciate it's something a bit experimental, but
it
it's
overstayed its welcome.
It misses the core parts of function as a film, which I've always said I rarely hold I rarely give the very, very low ratings, because everything I kind of work down or work from the middle. Nothing I see is without merit, and this is included. I did enjoy certain bits. I was intrigued by certain bits. I think I tried to understand what they were trying to say, but again, I'm now through the perspective of having read that theory.
Mm-hmm.
So if we'd have recorded this before I'd read that, I probably would have been a bit more scathing. And no, it doesn't have any meat to the bones in terms of delivering as a film. So yeah, it probably would be worst picture. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. In terms of direction, it's hard because visually, it was great. Bits. Yeah. But you know, the role of a director is making decisions and bringing the whole crew together to create a single vision. Mm-hmm. And if he's part of, like you say, if he's part of all the other bits that weren't working, then he hasn't also done his job. So I do think that this is probably one of the ones we'll agree that we're leaning towards. And it's definitely not one of the worst films I've seen, but
I would say though, last year, if I'd have seen this last year, it would have been at the bottom of my ranking. I think
my difficulty is I'd rather watch a film like this where it does try and do something a little bit different, rather than watch something that's the same, rehashed. I didn't know where it was going, and that kept me intrigued enough that the pacing was way off. Nothing really happened. He didn't really say anything, so it can't.
I think the issue is, like we kind of said, it just doesn't really work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, film, really.
And so it's not a good film if it doesn't work.
Exactly. No, you're right. So that's Hurry Up Tomorrow. 5 nominations, one of the highest. So technically second because we've got a joint top in the highest. Would be really interested to hear if anyone else has seen it who's maybe a fan of The Weeknd, maybe had some, or is it Trey Edward Schultz, the director, liked Wave's previous film and maybe went to see this and was, well, whether they liked it or was disappointed, or anyone, because I feel like it's one of those ones where you would go for the names, you'd go for the director, you'd go because you like The Weeknd, or you'd go because you like Jenna Ortega. So
and Barry Keoghan, he has a lot of
and fans. Barry Keoghan, yeah, he does. I didn't know. I don't remember him being in the trailer as much. I think that's why I didn't bring him up. But exactly. So there's plenty of people here that have a pull to bring people to watching it. But I'd be really intrigued to hear who has watched it, really, because I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have gone out of my way to watch it. I don't know how popular it was, what the box office was, or anything.
I don't think it got mass rollout because I think they knew they had a bit of a stinker on their hands.
I see. Because it's weird that I saw the trailer so many times, but I go to a cinema called The Light, so it's like it's independent, but it has like 16 locations. So I guess I reckon they probably were screening it as maybe one of the explore categories that they have potentially. I think obviously, when it comes to films like this, they don't usually advertise unless they have
They're showing it,
yeah, so that's probably
whereas
what it was.
I didn't remember seeing any trailers for it anywhere. I go to a showcase, which is quite big cinema. I'm sure they did show it because they show a lot, but
so that's it for Hurry Up Tomorrow. I think Claire and I both were saying to ourselves, just hurry up and end already.
I was wondering who was going to make that pun. I'm glad it wasn't me.
Do you know what, though? I had to. It was just sitting there waiting.
I wonder how many Letterboxd reviews are just hurry up the end.
Probably. It's probably where I picked it up from.
I'd say that's probably a minimum of 50% of the reviews.
Just hurry up and end already. Yeah, I definitely saw one of those. So that's it for our episode on Hurry Up Tomorrow. As I say, we'd love to hear sort of what your journey to discovery was for this film, because it feels a little bit out of the mainstream, but it's got a lot of nominations, so clearly a lot of people did see it Razzie membership wise. We're over somewhere on Twitter /X and Instagram. If you type in W Rated Pod, we're on Letterboxd as well.
We will be on TikTok.
We will be on TikTok. Super exciting. So yeah, just have a search for us and find us. And then if you've got a comment function they've got on Spotify now, which is very exciting. So just come and engage, let us know what you think. We'd love to chat with you, and then you can join us for the next Road to Razzies episode. Cue the music.